Oh, yeah. Just wait for it to. Oh, yeah. Don't slam the door. Fucking retard. Oh, he's so retarded. Fucking retard. Shit. There we go. He needs to step away before I fucking run him down. Step away, dumb retard. Fucking retard. Yeah, the guy right there, he's a fucking retard.
Language you've always wanted to know. Too hard?
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun. Fun isn't hard. Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging. You don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks? Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accent just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
And now, try Babbel free at Babbel.com. Sacrifices our heroes made for our country and our community. We hope you'll join all of us here at Team Hannity and support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. We'd like everyone to commit to $11 a month. You can do so. Go to their website. It's the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. All right, let's get to our busy telephones here as we say hi to Don in Virginia. Hey, Don, how are you? Glad you called, sir.
Well, Sean, thank you very much for taking my phone call. My concern is what happens if Trump's immunity case gets denied. Me, as a strong Republican, I believe as soon as Biden leaves that office, he should lose his immunity protection. And he should...
Well, that would be the net result of it. That's one of the big arguments that President Trump has been making in that case, and I think it is a very powerful argument. You know, they're arguing absolute immunity, but if a president in the capacity of being commander-in-chief has has to make very difficult, hard decisions, which they all do, and the president addressed this today. I mean, you've got to have a certain mindset. If you're president, one thing you can't be thinking about is if you have to make a tough choice, like, and the president referenced, for example, taking out the caliphate, or ISIS, or going after Soleimani, or al-Baghdadi and associates, or the al-Qaeda leader in Yemen. I mean, those are not easy decisions, and these are decisions that every commander-in-chief has to make, and if they have to, in the back of their mind, think about potential legal ramifications post being in office, well, what happens then? I mean, it's a real issue. I was concerned the court wouldn't take up the case, but it's so consequential, I don't think they had any choice but to take it up.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, exactly. And my point is, if they don't follow through with this, then Biden, our feeling, a lot of us feel that he should be held responsible for all these criminal charges that all the illegal aliens are happening and doing to our U.S. citizens. He's an accomplice of a single one of those crimes.
At what point do you not say that, yes, their policies, they're aiding and abetting in the law breaking, which I think I've been pointing out more than anybody. At what point do they become responsible? At what point do they have blood on their hands? Because they are not enforcing our nation's laws. They're not respecting our borders and sovereignty. I think that time has come and gone. And the outrageousness of it is, for 3 years, they have said that our eyes are lying to us, and that the border is secure, and the border is closed. Well, we saw it differently. And now all of a sudden it's become politically, an 80-20, 90-10 issue in the country, and they're facing a lot of negative backlash because of it. And the more recent case with Lake and Riley, a high-profile case, but there's been many, many more. I don't know, and we know why the government, why don't they keep track of violent crimes of illegal immigrants that they commit against American citizens? I don't think they want to. And at some point, I think the people have to be held accountable.
Exactly my feelings, and the feeling is they don't want to track them because they don't want to know how many people have been hurt because of their decision, and they should be held responsible for that.
I will tell you, it is just put yourself in the position of Lake and Riley's family. How proud they must have been of this young woman, University of Georgia, nursing student. She had her entire life ahead of her. I know my sisters were all nurses at some point in their life. They became registered nurses, and I view that as one of the hardest jobs in the world, but also one of the most giving and compassionate. I mean, helping people when they're sick, saving lives every day, it takes a special person to be able to deal with that. And I had one sister that actually used to work in a burn unit until she couldn't take it anymore, because she'd have to constantly be changing the bandages of people with really horrible burns, third-degree burns. And they'd have to change these bandages often and keep it clean, or else. But it was so painful when you take off the old bandage, and there's no amount of pain medicine that's going to stop that. And you're inflicting pain, but yet you have to do it to save a life. It's terrible. I mean, and I remember when she said to me, I just don't think I can do it anymore. I said, I totally understand, even though she was helping people. Very, very tough. I mean, I can't imagine how her family feels today. I can't imagine.
Our angels.
How do they recover? When do they get their life back? I don't think they do. I don't think they'll ever be the same. I don't think I'd ever be the same. I don't. Thanks for the call. Appreciate you being with us. Thank you, Don. All right, let's get to our phones. Let's say hi to Tony's in the free state of Florida, my new home. How are you, sir? Glad you called.
Very glad to be on. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for checking in. What's going on?
Well, I basically have what might be a stupid idea, but I have this feeling that Donald Trump wants to win, and we want him to win. We voted for him twice. We know he's not a politician. But when I watch him on TV, the things that I don't see is if I'm on the other side, I want to feel like this guy is for me. And I think it would do him a world of good to do something to make the other side, because there's a lot of people who don't like him. I know, because I've talked to so many people, especially on the other side. And I just don't
see that particular part of the campaign. Somehow he's got to rake in those independents that are on the fence and the Democrats that don't want to vote for Biden. And they will say to me to my face or online, there's no way I'll ever cast a vote for Donald J. Trump. And it's like, you can't even get into why, because they just won't do it. But there's got to be enough percentage of people out there that are just looking for something. And if he could just swing over a little bit, I know he likes to talk to his base. We watch him on TV, and he's different when he's talking to his base than some of the interviews like the one you were at the border with. Very, collected and calm, and that's a good projection. But I just think if he could do something to look in the camera and let those people know he is talking to them too. It's not the rank and file Democrats necessarily that we're against. It's leadership. I always say that to my left-leaning friends. But I got to believe that there's a way to pull in percentage of those votes to guarantee victory. Otherwise, I'm not sure. I hope he can do it, but I just don't know, because we don't know who the Democrats are going to throw out when Biden, when they finally realize he can't do it.
We're 245 days away from Election Day. I agree with much of what you're saying. I hope the president takes time to go into maybe traditional Democratic strongholds, if you will. We see demographically, at least on paper, and right now it's only on paper, that Joe Biden is losing massive numbers in terms of people of what is the base of the Democratic Party: African Americans, Hispanic Americans, young people. Donald Trump now winning among young people. Whether or not they come home on Election Day or whether or not they stay home, I can't fully predict. I don't think anybody can predict how this year's going to end up. And I think people that tell you that they can, I don't think they know what they're talking about. But I think the idea that, to go into communities and say, hey, the Democratic Party has told you, well, just ask people, how are their policies working for you? If you go into minority neighborhoods, for example, how are their policies working? How are your school system? How is law and order and safety and security where you live? I remember in 2016, at different points, he said, well, what have you got to lose? I do prefer, I tend to agree with you that I think his base is rock solid. We've seen that now in the primary. I don't think they're going anywhere. But you've got to get that extra 5-10%. I don't know what the exact number is. You got to get other people. We may be facing an election in 245 days that could be decided by a couple of 100,000 people in 6 or 7 states. It could come down to that yet again. And I mean, that's a pretty frightening thought. I think I prefer, for example, I've seen a lot of his rallies. Okay, I think they tend to be more geared towards the base, but I think you're right. I think in an interview situation where he's actually given the opportunity to explain his views. I did this with Robert Kennedy when I gave him a town hall. A lot of people were angry with me. They wanted me to debate him on some issues positions that he holds. For example, not just on the COVID vaccine, but on vaccinations in general. I'm like, that's not my job. He's a presidential candidate. I want him to give his full answer, and it's not my job to sit there and debate him. And it's up to the people. I give people a lot of credit in terms of their intelligence, that they can decide for themselves whether or not they agree or disagree, but let's hear people out. And I think Donald Trump, when he's conversational, a guy that I've known long before he ever thought about getting into politics, he's funny, he's gracious, gregarious, probably generous to a fault. And I think the more he shows that other side of him and his concern for people of all backgrounds, races, etc., I think that would absolutely benefit him. Reaching out to people that know that the country is in decline and don't like it, that maybe don't like his style, and explain, well, I've asked that question, and he says, if I didn't fight Sean, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be doing this interview with you. And it's a pretty good answer. It's a pretty strong answer, because it's true. So anyway, I appreciate the call. I think he raised a lot of good points. Jeffrey in Arizona, same point he wants to make. I think he's an independent. We got about a minute. I'm sorry, Jerry in Arizona. Jerry, you're on the Sean Hannity show. You've got about 90 seconds. They're all yours.
Yeah, hey Sean. So I'm an independent voter. I want to give you a perspective. In 2018, when I lived in California, I voted for Newsom. In 2020, in the presidential election, I voted for Trump. I am a PhD student here in Arizona. And the thing that gets me is I don't know what conservatives are doing to try and canvass the college base. So anytime I go to campus, it's all Democratic strategists promoting Democratic policies. I don't ever see a conservative one out there trying to talk to college students. So I was just wondering, what can conservatives do to actually reach the college base?
I think you raise a good question, and one of the problems conservatives have had historically on college campuses is they get shouted down. If they were invited to speak, they get protested, and they never get to utter a word because then their safety, becomes a question and an issue that has to be dealt with. Look at, for example, Riley Gaines goes to one university, is speaking, and gets chased off the stage, hit in the process, and is even in the room with a law enforcement officer, and help didn't arrive till 4 hours later with people banging on the door trying to break in and bring them harm. I don't know if I'd advise any conservative to go on some of these liberal college campuses. I had an occasion not that long ago after the terror attacks in Israel. I was on a college campus, as incognito as I can be, and throughout that day I saw not one but three separate, quote, pro-Palestinian, in some cases even pro-Hamas, protests going on. Pretty scary. And it's happening all around the country.
No, exactly. From what I've seen, and maybe it's the same with what you've seen, a lot of college students are lost. And when they leave the college setting, they have no idea what's in store for them. And colleges kind of coddle what is expected, especially when you go into the job market, right? So I feel like there is so much value and potential for conservatives to kind of just, get to college students and have them understand, just like kind of what Tim Scott said. At the end of the day, you control your own destiny, right? You can make the American dream happen, but it takes your initiative to make it happen.
But there are many conservative and Republican groups that have emerged on college campuses around the country, and my advice to young people is don't be afraid to speak up and take a stand and be part of a group, and you can organize a whole variety of events to inform people. I would wish that college campuses allowed for vigorous debate and a free and open exchange of opinion, ideals, and principles, but many of them do not. It's kind of sad. Anyway, I hope you organize it, Jerry. Good call, man. Appreciate it. 800-941-SEAN, our number. All right, God forbid you're out with your family, you're driving on the open road, and out of nowhere you hear that noise, your car breaks down. Maybe it's your engine, maybe it's your transmission, whatever it happens to be. It's kind of scary, especially if you have kids in the car. And it's then frustrating when you look at the high cost of repairs. I don't know, parts, labor, mechanics, good mechanics, hard to find, very expensive. That's what CarShield is all about. The only thing with CarShield is you got to make one phone call before you break down, but the protection they're going to want, the security that comes with it. Now remember, they offer roadside assistance as part of their coverage, but these plans pay for expensive repairs. The car's completely out of warranty. They take care of it, car, truck, SUV, and they have cars, whether it has 5,000 or 150,000 miles on it. You're going to get protection on over 5,000 major parts and systems. You can call now, get a free estimate, 800-587-5060. And by the way, I'm talking about big money items, your transmission, your engine, electronics, and so much more. And CarShield is there to help keep you moving and make car breakdowns and the repairs that follow just a bump in the road. 800-587-5060. Check them out online at carshield.com/Hannity. It gives me peace of mind when I'm on the road. You'll have that same peace of mind. If you call now, you'll save 20% by mentioning my name. 800-587-5060. On the web, it's carshield.com/Hannity.
Cellular's customer support to discuss our affordable and flexible phone plans.